Think about this for a second. The woman who built an entire empire on chaos, the queen of turning mess into millions, is allegedly saying, "This mess is no longer even entertaining." Mona Scott-Young, the architect of primetime drama, might finally be done. And honestly, can anyone blame her? Rasheeda Frost's storyline has become a looping carousel of marital betrayals, half-baked business ventures, and those painfully staged "we're working it out" therapy sessions that look faker than a plastic skyline on a cheap green screen. In the beginning, viewers tuned in with sympathy, even curiosity. But sympathy curdled into boredom, and curiosity rotted into secondhand embarrassment. How many times can Kirk Frost cheat before the shock wears off and it just feels like a broken record? Across TikTok, the memes are ruthless: same scandal, different season, one viral post sneers. Twitter, or X, depending on which brand of drama you prefer, is lit up with comments like, "This storyline is older than my auntie's church hat." And then there is Yandy Smith-Harris, the self-anointed saint of the Bronx. For years she polished that halo until it gleamed under studio lights. Activist. Mother. Prison reform advocate. All admirable, yes. But inside the love and hip-hop universe, fans say the cracks have been screaming for attention. Behind the soft-spoken words and carefully timed tears, they claim she is playing a grandmaster's game of emotional chess, while the rest of the cast is still fumbling with Candyland cards. At first, her saintly act worked. Now, viewers feel like pawns in a manipulative spectacle. TikTok edits call her the smiling storm. Instagram threads accuse her of milking the loyal wife brand until it turned sour. The audience has stopped clapping and started side-eyeing. And that silence is deafening. Meanwhile, behind the velvet curtain, producers have allegedly been gnashing their teeth for seasons, desperate to freshen the narrative. They watched Jocelyn Hernandez, the Puerto Rican princess herself, read the signs long ago. She collected her checks, flipped a metaphorical table, and exited with hurricane-level flair. Today, she headlines her own cabaret, still sparking headlines, still setting cultural fires. She knew the golden rule of reality TV: never overstay your welcome. But Rasheeda and Yandy? They are still gripping their crowns like the final scene of Game of Thrones depends on it, even as their empire crumbles beneath them. Mona's alleged move is not just a casting decision, it feels like a royal eviction notice. And the revolt is not confined to living rooms. Social media is merciless. Twitter is a battlefield of one-liners: "Rasheeda drama is older than my grandma's wig collection," "Yandy needs to retire before her fake tears cause a national tissue shortage." TikTok edits slice through every episode, calling the pair love and hip-hop's background noise. Brutal? Absolutely. But inevitable when fans feel force-fed reheated chaos. Even fellow cast members are reportedly losing patience. The ever-unfiltered Tasha K has allegedly hinted that Rasheeda and Yandy are gatekeeping screen time, blocking fresh blood and fresh scandals from breaking through. Translation: they are standing in the doorway while the future of the franchise pounds to get in. And for once, Tasha's sharp tongue might be echoing the audience's collective sigh. So as Mona sharpens the axe, the question is no longer if the curtain will fall, but when. And when it does, the crash will be heard across every hashtag and headline in reality TV history. When the same faces dominate every season, love and hip-hop, Atlanta starts to feel less like a reality show and more like an aging soap opera that has forgotten how to write a fresh plot. And just when fans thought it could not get any messier, life tossed in a pinch of irony, because Spice herself has been dragged straight into the chaos. Yes, Spice. The Grammy-nominated, globe-touring powerhouse who is still breaking records in the music world. A woman whose real-life hits echo far louder than any reunion night screaming match. And yet, there she is, stuck in confessionals and trading insults with cast members whose musical relevance peaked before Instagram even invented the mute button. Fans are baffled. Comment sections explode with disbelief. Why is Spice lowering herself to this level? Her career does not need this drama. Meanwhile, Mona Scott-Young is allegedly trying to juggle the impossible, keeping an international superstar satisfied while also babysitting Rasheeda Frost and Yandy Smith-Harris through yet another rinse-and-repeat storyline. It is a recipe for disaster, the kind that could scorch an entire franchise. And it might just force a revolution inside the love and hip-hop universe. Because here is where the whispers turn into thunder. Mona Scott has allegedly had enough. The fans have had enough. Even the weary cast has had enough. For the first time ever, it feels like Rasheeda and Yandy might actually be shoved out, not by choice, but by sheer exhaustion from everyone orbiting their endless reruns. And here comes the kicker. If those two finally leave, the ripple effects could be seismic. New faces could finally rise. The show might reinvent itself, reclaiming the cultural firepower it once held. But if they stay? The ratings might sink faster than Kirk Frost's credibility during a marriage counseling session gone wrong. This, my friends, is where things get truly spicy, and not the kind of spice that wins Grammys. This is the kind of spice that scorches reputations. Because the alleged investigative findings swirling around Rasheeda and Yandy make Mona's rumored demand sound less like a suggestion and more like a public service announcement. Let us begin with Rasheeda, the self-branded boss chick. For years she built her empire on music, fashion, and reality TV, juggling them with the confidence of a woman who believed she could turn chaos into cash. But according to a leaked internal memo, one that insiders joke may have been scribbled on a Starbucks napkin, VH1 executives are done with the charade. They allegedly complain that Rasheeda's storyline is not only repetitive but is actually draining the show's budget. Why? Because every single season, they are allegedly forced to engineer yet another Kirk cheating scandal just to keep her relevant. One anonymous production insider supposedly quipped, at this point, Kirk should have a loyalty punch card, cheat 9 times, the 10th mistress is free. Brutal. But the gossip does not stop there. Rumors swirl that Rasheeda once celebrated boutiques, her supposed crown jewels, are now financial sinkholes. One insider claims producers even have to rent extras to fake busy shopping scenes so the boutiques do not look like deserted clearance racks. Ouch does not even begin to cover it. Now, pivot to Yandy. If Rasheeda problem is being stale, Yandy problem is being too perfect, so perfectly curated that it borders on robotic. Fans are no longer buying the act. According to an alleged leaked email from a VH1 focus group report, viewers ranked Yandy confessionals among the most inauthentic moments on the show. One savage comment stood out: if I wanted to watch someone fake cry on cue, I would just rewatch old soap operas. And it gets messy, eh? Multiple insiders allege that Yandy has been lobbying fiercely behind the scenes to maintain her queen bee status, even blocking newer cast members from getting major airtime. The motive? Pure fear that someone younger, wilder, or hungrier might finally steal the crown she has been polishing for years. So here we are, a reality empire cracking under the weight of stale plots, superstar side-eyes, and a fan base that smells blood in the water. Mona's rumored patience has run out. The question is no longer whether a purge is coming, but how explosive the detonation will be when the cameras finally roll. One insider whispered in a tone so secretive it could make you clutch your pearls, Yandy plays nice for the cameras, but offset she is the gatekeeper. She decides who eats and who starves. That is not just drama, that is dictatorship energy. And if true, it is exactly the kind of revelation that sends shockwaves through an already trembling franchise. Meanwhile, fans are anything but silent. Social media has turned into an all-out roast session. TikTok creators churn out viral edits labeled Love and Hip Hop, Rasheeda and Yandy edition, same plot, different season. Twitter floods with memes comparing Rasheeda storylines to dusty reruns of Jerry Springer. Over on Instagram, fan pages bluntly demand that Mona Scott replace the self-crowned AUGs with younger, hungrier, and yes, messier talent. Because let us face it, reality TV does not live on therapy sessions, it feasts on chaos. And then, with perfect timing, the hurricane known as Jocelyn Hernandez enters. The Puerto Rican princess is on a press run like only she can manage, throwing shade like confetti, practically yelling, "I told y'all years ago to get rid of them." On one podcast, she allegedly claimed that Rasheeda's storyline is so stale, even Kirk does not want to cheat anymore. Whether fact or just Jocelyn being Jocelyn, the internet devoured it. She is not alone in lighting the match. Blogger Tasha K chimed in too, claiming she has heard whispers that advertisers are quietly pulling back from episodes centered on Rasheeda and Yandy because audiences simply tune out. Translation: boring storylines are not just killing clout, they are bleeding revenue. And if there is one thing Mona Scott Young never gambles with, it is her bag. But let us not crown Mona a saint just yet. She is the original puppet master, the grand architect of reality TV chaos. If she is really demanding retirements, insiders say it is because she sees the writing on the checks, or the lack thereof. Another leaked report, take it with enough salt to season a Thanksgiving turkey, claims Mona told producers flat out, if Rasheeda and Yandy do not step aside, this franchise is going to tank harder than a rapper's second album. Brutal words for a brutal moment. And through all this, Spice, Grammy-nominated, world-touring Spice, is trapped in the crossfire. Fans are growing furious on her behalf. Watching Spice on Love and Hip Hop is like watching Beyoncé join a high school food fight, one online critic groaned. The math simply does not math. The scandal deepens when you factor in the alleged behind-the-scenes fights. Rumor has it that last season's reunion nearly went nuclear as younger cast members openly accused Rasheeda and Yandy of hogging the spotlight. Producers supposedly cut entire segments to keep the AUGs from looking bad, which might explain why certain episodes felt chopped within an inch of their lives. And here comes the real shocker. Anonymous crew members whisper that Mona herself is ready to cut ties, but Rasheeda and Yandy are flat out refusing to bow out. They allegedly argue that they built the franchise and therefore deserve lifetime seats at the table. One insider swears Mona finally snapped in a meeting, declaring, "This is Love and Hip Hop, not the Rasheeda and Yandy show." Dots dropped. So now we have Mona fed up. Fans fed up. Cast members fed up. Advertisers fed up. Basically, everyone except Rasheeda and Yandy are ready to move on. And yet the machine grinds on, stuck in an endless loop of reheated scandals. The question is no longer if something will snap, it is when. And if you think the backlash is bad now, just wait. Because the fallout from Mona's alleged demand could be the biggest shockwave since Jocelyn famously called Stevie J her manager, her daddy, and her side piece in the same breath. This is reality television on the edge of a supernova. Now comes the million-dollar question: what if Mona Scott actually follows through? Imagine it. Forcing Rasheeda Frost and Yandy Smith Harris into early retirement would make the wildest season finale reunion look like a quiet church potluck. First, the fanbase explosion. Love and Hip Hop thrives on two types of viewers: the diehard stans who will ride for their faves until the final hashtag, and the casual thrill-seekers who tune in purely for the mess. If Rasheeda and Yandy are booted, the diehards will riot. Picture trending hashtags like #Rasheeda or #Yandy flooding timelines, accusing Mona of betrayal and spinning conspiracy theories about the real reason for the ouster. Because in the world of reality TV, everything is a conspiracy. But the casual fans? They will be popping champagne. For years they have begged Mona to shake things up. One viral TikTok already joked, "If Mona cuts Rasheeda and Yandy, I will finally watch Love and Hip Hop again without fast-forwarding half the episode." The reaction will split straight down the middle, half outrage, half relief. And you can bet Mona is calculating which side will bring the biggest ratings spike. So as the credits roll on this saga of loyalty, betrayal, and pure reality TV survival, only one truth remains. Something is about to give, and when it does, the blast will echo far beyond Atlanta, rewriting the very rules of the Love and Hip Hop universe. Then comes the money trail, and it is a trail paved in pure tension. Advertisers have been side-eyeing Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta for a while. Repetitive storylines mean fewer viewers. Fewer viewers mean less ad money. Less ad money means Mona Scott Young calling emergency boardroom meetings in stilettos sharp enough to cut a contract. If Rasheeda Frost and Yandy Smith Harris are truly dragging the brand down, chopping them off the cast list is not just drama, it is a calculated financial power move. Picture the headlines that would follow: Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta reinvents itself with fresh faces, ratings skyrocket. That is the kind of headline that keeps a franchise breathing. But do not assume Rasheeda and Yandy will stroll quietly into the Atlanta sunset. Oh no. These women have built their entire public image on being untouchable, unshakable reality TV royalty. If Mona dares pull the rug, expect aftershocks. Rumors of lawsuits are already swirling like storm clouds. Gossip blogs claim Rasheeda has threatened breach of contract litigation, insisting she still has seasons left on her deal. Yandy, meanwhile, is allegedly crafting a bombshell tell-all about the toxic culture behind the cameras, ready to paint herself as a betrayed heroine. Because what is better than on-screen drama? Off-screen drama that spills into real life. And circling above, like vultures over a carcass, are the legal sharks. Whenever a reality star is pushed out, NDAs tremble, lawsuits fly, and long-buried production secrets threaten to escape. If Rasheeda or Yandy go scorched earth, imagine the leaks. How many surprise confrontations were staged, how many fights were stitched together from 3 separate filming days. The internet would devour that faster than Carly Red dives into someone else's storyline. Speaking of Carly Red, brace yourself for the cast shakeup. Booting the AUGs would fling the door wide open for younger, wilder, hungrier personalities, people eager to embarrass themselves for clout. It could be a glorious rebirth for the franchise, or a spectacular misfire. Because love them or hate them, Rasheeda and Yandy have one thing every producer craves: consistency. They always show up. They always deliver something, even if that something feels like déjà vu. And what about Spice? She is the glittering wild card. If Mona cuts Rasheeda and Yandy, Spice could finally claim the spotlight she deserves, or decide she is too big for the chaos and exit as well. Losing a Grammy-nominated global star would sting worse than a Jocelyn one-liner. Meanwhile, the court of public opinion is already in session. Online forums hum with debate. Is Mona scapegoating Rasheeda and to cover weak production? Or are these women truly dragging the show into rerun oblivion? The sarcasm is merciless. One tweet reads, "Mona demanding Rasheeda and Yandy retire is like a landlord evicting tenants for staying too long. Sis, you gave them the lease." Another quips, "If Rasheeda and Yandy retire, Kirk's side chicks will be unemployed. Prayers up." The memes practically write themselves. And the bigger picture? If Mona truly makes this move, she sets a precedent for the entire love and hip-hop empire: Miami, New York, Hollywood. Nobody would be safe. Overstay your welcome, and Mona might just snatch your peach, your mic, or your confessional chair without warning. This could trigger a franchise-wide purge, a reality TV Hunger Games where only the freshest, most chaotic survive. But here is where it gets truly nuclear. What if Rasheeda and Yandy refuse to fade and instead launch a rival show? Imagine the Real Boss Chicks of Atlanta streaming on Zeus Network, featuring Rasheeda, Yandy, and other disgruntled ex-cast members tearing Mona apart in confessionals. You think Mona wants that smoke? Absolutely not. Which is why those behind-the-scenes negotiations must feel like an episode of Scandal, with Olivia Pope whispering strategy in every ear. At the end of the day, Mona Scott's alleged demand is about more than 2 cast members. It is about the survival of an empire. Love and hip-hop, Atlanta is no longer the shiny cultural juggernaut it once was. Ratings have dipped. Storylines have dragged. Fans are restless. Something has to give. And Mona, queenpin of calculated chaos, knows that sometimes the only way to save the kingdom is to cut off the heads of the royals. So here we are, balanced on the edge of the franchise's biggest shakeup in history. Rasheeda Frost and Yandy Smith Harris, the self-proclaimed queens, may soon be dethroned by the very woman who once crowned them. Fans are split. Castmates are whispering. Advertisers are watching. The internet is sharpening its claws. And the final question is chilling: when the dust settles, will Rasheeda and Yandy walk off with dignity, or will they be dragged from the throne kicking and screaming, clutching their confessionals like expired coupons at the beauty supply store? Because if Mona Scott really pulls this trigger, love and hip-hop, Atlanta will never, ever be the same again. And now we arrive at what feels like the alleged showdown of the century: Mona Scott young playing chess while Rasheeda Frost and Yandy Smith Harris are stuck with a deck missing half its cards. The stakes? Nothing less than the soul of love and hip-hop, Atlanta. So let me throw this question right back to you. If Mona really pulls the trigger and cuts them loose, is she saving the franchise, or destroying it? Are Rasheeda and Yandy reality TV legends who deserve a crown and a victory lap, or have they become glittering relics who overstayed their welcome? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I know you have opinions and I want to hear every single one. Who do you think should seize the throne next? Should Spice finally rule without compromise? Should Carly Red snatch the spotlight for herself? Or is it time for a brand new face to rise from the chaos and build a dynasty of pure, unfiltered drama? Maybe Mona is not cleaning house at all, maybe she is just stirring the pot, creating the ultimate cliffhanger to keep us hooked. Smash that like button if you live for the mess. Hit subscribe so you never miss the next scandal that will leave timelines in flames. And share this video with the friend who still thinks reality TV is real, because trust me, this story is far from over. The drama? It is only just getting started.